I, on behalf of the India EduFuture Summit, welcome you all to Education Masterclass 1 on Pedagogy, Methods, Tools and Techniques in the Digital Era. My name is Aanchal and I work as a research associate at CSRBOX. Before we begin with today's session, we have a few instructions for our participants. Since we are using a virtual platform, you may experience a time lag. To avoid disturbance, keep your microphone on mute and video off unless you are asked to speak. In case you get logged out of the meeting due to any technical issue, you can use the same link to log in again. Please use the chat box to share any questions, comments, suggestions for our speaker. We shall take up the questions at the end of the session. Your questions will help us in making this session more interactive and fruitful. We are honored to have with us today Mr. Ashok Pandey, Director, Ahlcon Group of Schools, to lead this masterclass. Mr. Pandey has been working in the school sector for the past 30 years. During his long career, he has worked with many prestigious organizations such as Mayo College, Ajmer, Delhi Public School, and the Jammu and Indian Embassy School, Saudi Arabia. Recipient of several awards, including the National Award for Teacher 2012 and CBSE Award 2009 for his contribution in education and community development, Mr. Pandey is currently involved in issues such as school transformation, quality interventions, professional development of teachers, innovations in teaching learning, technology integration, global peace and harmony, and climate change issues. Thank you for joining us today, sir. Before we begin, I would like to remind you that this session ends at 12:35 p.m. and a buzzer will go off 5 minutes before the session ends. We shall keep the last 10 minutes to take up the questions posted by the participants in the chat box. I request you to take the session forward, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Aanchal. A very nice, loving introduction. And you have also set the rules very nicely. And I take this opportunity to thank you and CSRBOX. Wish you great success in these 2 days of deliberations. And I thank my participants who have taken time to come and join. I'm sure it is a great investment that they are making, and also a kind of very nice gesture that they thought of joining this particular masterclass. So we will begin it formally. I have been introduced, but I would like the participants also to introduce themselves because we just cannot start talking out of a vacuum. So I have a suggestion that kindly introduce yourself in the chat box by writing your name, your affiliation, and the place you come from. So do it as early as you can. I will read out some introductions just to break the ice of this distance and also the ice of not knowing each other. So my request is please go ahead. I can see Deepak Patil, he did not write. Where is he from and what does he do? Piyush from Global Gyan, Mumbai. Jasmeet, IABT from New Delhi. Manoj Poddar, Director, My Nalanda Group, Pune. Vikas from Dakshina Foundation, Pune. Okay, now it's coming up very fast. I have to catch up with the speed. Shri Krishna from Pro Skills, Hyderabad. Shweta Singh, Lady Erwin, Vaishali from Bangalore. Deepak Patil, Mumbai. Hello, Ashok sir. Somebody is saying maybe he is familiar to me. Ashish from great, thank you. Preetham Singh from Indeed Foundation. Of course, you are indeed there. Hello, everyone. Shramik is there from Salam, Bombay. Excellent. Ashfaq Saab is from Bangalore again. Swati is there from Mumbai. Mr. Rangarajan from Literacy Project. Janhvi Joshi is there. I am Mandeep. Mandeep is there from India STEM Foundation. Stuti Prasad from Mumbai. Great. Thank you very much. But do not stop writing if you can. Nice to know. It gives me an idea that the range of your experience, diversity of geographies, the diversity of work that all of you are doing. That is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Now I want all of you, those who could not write the introductions, could you please take the lead and just write down one word or two words. What is your expectation from this masterclass? Just a word or two. And if you are a very, very flair for writing, you can write a sentence at the most. Your expectations from the masterclass. Let me see. I think the expectations are not coming. Why is that? Why is that? Okay. Relevant strategies, digital tools, COVID support, teaching techniques, reach the unreachables. Excellent. Socio-emotional learning, coach and mentor, how you could be. Perhaps this is what you want to know. We need to focus on skills that are need to inculcate 21st century skills. Absolutely. Digital tools, methods. Fantastic, fantastic. Technology in education. Okay. Know about different two methodologies for digital era. Add-on strategies, relevant strategies in the COVID. Experience sharing, of course. Excellent, excellent. So thank you very much. Please keep writing. Give me a second. I'll share my screen. Aanchal, I'm sharing my screen.
Yes, sir.
Just a second. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome. Now that we know each other, at least to an extent, and I also have some idea about your expectations. I can tell you that it's a confession that I may not fulfill all the expectations, but at the same time, I will be able to cover quite a number of things that you have mentioned. But one thing is certainly going to happen, which one of the delegates said, experience sharing. So certainly, I'm going to share my experience, and I hope that experience will be of some use to you. I will just share with you quickly the agenda. Achal, can you tell me my screen is visible? I'm audible perfectly fine. Just say yes.
Yes, sir.
If it is so. So, ladies and gentlemen, introduction and boot-in is already happened. And I will build the context of this masterclass. I will talk about the virtual learning, which all of you want me to. Somebody mentioned SEL. Somebody mentioned about different strategies. So I will mention something about a thinking routine. I will give you a blueprint of at least one thinking routine. And as Aanchal has expected, we will have the last 10 minutes dedicated to question and answer session. So that is the agenda that we are going to follow. And let me come here. I did not see in the chat box anybody who is a school leader or a teacher, but I'm sure most of you are. But everybody is interested in the welfare of the children. Everybody is interested in how to navigate this whole process of the teaching, whether online, in person, or a hybrid model, which is most likely to emerge. But anybody who is anything to do with the school children, I am addressing them as school leaders. So school leaders are not necessarily the principals or headmistresses or headmasters, but anybody who is leading the education for the children. And generally, since we are talking in the context of in-person and online teaching, I think I can safely say that all of you have excelled as on-campus leaders. And now we are put into online situation, which we call remote or distant or whatever you're saying. So we have to display our new values and new skills to collaborate with the students, with the teachers, with the community of parents, so that we are able to support the teaching and learning process. And I want to share with you that it is a crisis situation in which your contribution is remembered for a very, very long time, you see. And all of us are facing this crisis situation. You see, if I'm not a votary of wars, but I'm just taking this example that if there were no wars, we would have never known about the great war heroes. And if there were no very difficult, enormous public crises, we would not have known about the statesperson, the statesman or stateswoman. So similarly, in an education scenario, I think we have to show our we have to show our resilience, we have to show what are the new innovations we can take so that our leadership is remembered and counted for a very, very long time. So this is the introduction. And just to draw your attention to it, I have one ice-breaking poll, which I'm asking Achal. Could you please play the first poll? And I will request the delegates to exercise your right of polling, and so that we know what is the result of that. Achal, here you are. What is your favorite color? So let us see that at least in this audience, what is the favorite color? Yeah, I think blue is winning at the moment. Black and red is struggling to come near the blue. And in just 10 seconds, I will end this poll. And so far, 59% of the people are saying that blue is their favorite color. So I am declaring, I'm using my right of being the judge here to declare blue as the winner. Thank you very much for taking part. And I'm ending this poll.
So do you want me to share the results with the audience? I mean,
yeah,
display it?
Please do that. Please do that. Oh, okay, okay. All right, Anchal, that's fine. I think blue is the winner in any case, 46%, nearly 50%. So you can bring the next poll, please, Anchal. Yeah, why did you decide to attend this event? Great. So I think the result is already visible, Anchal. It is the result sheet, and I want to learn new things, and that is something very, very satisfying. And it at least this group of sample suggests that the urge to learn new things is far more outweighing than anything else, whether it is the speaker's lineup or networking opportunities, or if you are any other option. So that's fantastic. Thank you very much, Anchal. You can end this poll, and now I will move. Great. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So whenever we are talking of teaching and learning, the overarching thing that motivates us is what is our design of learning. And the universal design of learning, follows that we have to help all the children. This is number one. No child should be left behind. The second thing is that we have to provide opportunity to all the children to succeed. That is the second thing. And when we are placed in a situation like as now, we also have to leverage the flexibility, the power of flexibility and technology to fulfill the objective of reaching all the children and making conditions and creating opportunity for the success of all the children. So that's the overall design of learning, and that should be our philosophy. And this philosophy will be assisted by two things which all of you are familiar with. One is the Bloom's taxonomy, that we want children to begin from the lower order of thinking to the higher order of thinking and proficiency, remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. We want them to be efficient in this ladder. And the second point which assists us in achieving our objectives is the Maslow's hierarchy. So we have to fulfill the psychological needs, the safety needs, the love and belonging, the esteem, and the self-actualization. So if we keep the Maslow's laws of hierarchy, we keep the Bloom's taxonomy, we merge them two, and then we have the higher objective of reaching to every child and providing opportunity for every child to reach the highest learning order and the highest order of our psychological needs, then probably we can design anything. Whether it is in person, it is online, or it is hybrid, will depend upon this. So this is the context in which we can move as educators, as leaders, as anybody who is engaged in the process of teaching and learning. And therefore, what we have to do is that when we design any learning process, we have to do 3 or 4 things. Number one, of course, we have to make our objectives very, very clear. So whether it is inside the classroom or online, we have to make our goals and objectives very clear. So post it. Online, you send it in advance, or when you come, you share with them that this is the objective that we are going to fulfill. Create the digital working spaces in the classroom. You make sure that everybody's well-being, everybody is ready, everybody is feeling physically all right. If you want to create a group, tell them in advance. If they're working in partnership or in collaboration, they should know that. Do they have the technological access? Find out about if there is any scarcity that they're going to have, internet connection, the bandwidth, devices, the silent spaces. I think we have to ensure that all the children are in a space-wise readiness. Thinking routines, all learning depends on what we think, how we think, and how we direct our thinking. That is very important, and we will deal with it a little later. How do we ask them to give their assignments? Because assignments support the learning process. Assessments support the learning process. So when I'm talking of assignment and assessments here, I'm not talking of assignment always for grading, and I'm not talking of assessment only to test the learning which has taken place. I would rather emphasize on that how do you give evidence of your learning, and how can we improve your learning with the kind of feedback that we get through the assignments that we create from you. So this is the design strategy that we have to follow. And then we come to what we call, this is for the leaders. Any organization that you are leading and which is engaged in the teaching and learning process, particularly schools here, I think as a leader, we have to have our teams. We have to practice what we call distributive leadership. As a leader, you cannot do everything alone. You should not become the nerve center. You should not become the war room operator kind of thing. I think we have to develop a resource team which will constantly think about what resources for learning we have, how it is to be shared, how we have to improve the accessibility to those resources. That is very, very important. The operations team, most of the teachers or most of the people who are working with you may not be at a position where they can start deploying the technological tools and things like that. So how the operations will take place, how we will communicate the whole thing. Because in any situation, and more so in a crisis situation, more so in which our physical campuses have metamorphosed into so many other classrooms and campuses across the distances, I think the only thing which can bind them together is the communication. So we have to have a very robust, very candid, very compassionate and continuous communication process. And for that, we have to deploy a separate team. And then, of course, our research and development team, which I have written here as a think tank team. What will the think tank do? What is our need today? Have we been able to fulfill it, reflect upon it, and what we have to do tomorrow, day after 1 month, as the scenario is changing. As you know, the COVID situation has put us in a situation wherein we are put into a cascading dilemmas, you see. So what will happen tomorrow, we don't know. Children will come to school, we don't know. Some of them will come, we don't know. If they are at home, how will we make our teaching more effective? Everything requires a very deep thinking, requires a lot of deliberation, and what we normally call as brainstorming sessions. So we need a think tank. And if you do that, then probably we will be in a position to. Now, for a leader, the first thing was build your team. But as a leader, when you're sitting in your house, or maybe even if you have gone to the office, you're alone there, nobody else is there, and everybody is looking up to you, and you have to connect with everybody. So you have to bring in some internal rebooting to your style of working. That is something very, very important. And that whatever as a leader you demonstrate to your teachers, the teachers will demonstrate the same thing to their students and parents. So that is something very, very important. So 4 suggestions I have here. One is that you please develop unconditional positive regard for everybody. So regard is something that we talk about, but unconditional regard is another thing, and a positive regard, you see. So what does it mean in actual terms, in practical terms, is that accept everybody as they are and try and build their capacity. Don't lose your patience. Don't demand too many expectations. So lower down your expectation, be compassionate, build their capacity, and bring out their talent and strength. That is a demonstration of unconditional positive regard. Create new structures and protocols with the help of the teams that I have said, and also, giving opportunity to others who are excelling. So some teachers or people, they can create excellent videos. Others can create nice content. Others can be great communicators. Others could reach out to the children who are the ultimate beneficiaries. So you bring those structures and protocols where you give importance to everybody. You deploy the right people for the right designed tool that will create new structures. And you have to find out, depending upon your circumstances, what is your new design for online learning. So you might have mapped by now, and therefore I'm not emphasizing much on that, but somebody asked this question, and therefore I'm putting on it. So some of your children may have 100% access to internet, dedicated device to them. Some of them may have internet access, but the device may not be dedicated. They may have to depend on their parents, their siblings, and one device in a family of 5. Some of them may have both, but they may not have a very quiet, silent space where they can sit down and attend your classes. These 3 are still manageable, but there is a 4th category who do not have any access to any of these. So when we are designing a protocol, and if we are following the universal design of learning, which I said earlier, then we have to include those children also, that what is our way to reach out to them. So one team at least should work that what are those minimums through which we can reach out. We'll reach out to them only through SMS. We'll reach out to them through WhatsApp. We will reach out to them through sending the learning materials to their houses, or if they can collect, or we will put them through the mass media where there is a TV program dedicated to that class, or there is a radio program dedicated to that class, some sharing, collaboration. That will decide what is our protocol. And lead by learning is a new situation, and none of us were prepared for that. And therefore, the leader has to lead by example. And the first example that we have to give is example of learning. How well we are prepared to learn so that our learning becomes infectious for others, and others also demonstrate the same thing. So this is a design protocol from the leader's perspective. And I want to emphasize here that the virtual learning, you know that now we are delivering completely everything: instruction, assignment, assessment, interaction through a virtual mode. And in this situation, what emerges is the relationship. And we have to focus on that relationship. That's the key to the success of virtual learning. And that relationship operates at 3 levels. Relationship between a student and content that we are presenting to them. Relationship between student and teacher. And relationship between student and student. So how we foster these 3 relationships at these 3 planes and levels will decide how far we are going to sit. So I give a pause here, and I request Aanchal, if you can play the 4th poll here. Aanchal, if you're able to listen to me. Aanchal? Aanchal, you're there?
Question number 4?
Yeah. No, question number 3.
Question number 3.
Yeah. Yeah, here you are. So friends, I like in-person teaching because there are 4 options, and your polling begins now. Excellent. Great. So I think you can share the result, Aanchal. I think most of the people have voted already. Almost 100 people. So I can read body language. So that is the winner here. But I have full control over the learners. I'm very comfortable teaching in a physical class, or the close runners up. And it is very natural. So this result is quite on the expected lines. So let's move forward. So please, you can close this poll, Aanchal. So virtual learning. Let us see what happens next. No, don't give the 4th. Aanchal? Now, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can
Monica, can you hear me? Yeah, fine. So don't give the 4th poll, that we will do later.
All right.
So, yeah. So this result of the previous poll suggests to me that you want to have a better control over the children. You want to have a physical proximity. You want to read their body language, and which means that in the physical classrooms, you have some apprehensions. So apprehension number 1 comes from, can virtual learning be as effective as in-class learning? So this is the question that emerges from that poll. And I can tell you with all this sincerity and responsibility at my command, that depending upon the technological access, I have already put that caveat that for the success of online, the access to technology, devices and space is a paramount importance thing. So I can tell you with that caveat, virtual learning, we can make them as effective as it is, as it should be. So answer is yes, but there are some caveats to it, you see. As I said, the access is one caveat, the readiness of the children, the kind of content, you know, these other factors, if we can remove the fear of isolation, if you can remove the absence of socialization through our own interventions and innovations, then the answer is, and the research support is, that virtual learning can be as effective as in-class learning, given those caveats, and if you can fulfill that. Question number 2 that emerges from there is, what are the major challenges in virtual learning? So just as I said, if you can take care of isolation, so students are feeling isolated because they are away, they are missing their classrooms, they are missing the corridors, they are missing their quarrels, they are missing the tiffin sharing, and they are missing their physical activities, at least the ground, running around, meditation and yoga and all those things they can do even still in their houses, but a school-based physical education program may not take place here. So isolation in general of the students, and access and paucity, you see, the students have the scarcity I mentioned to you. So they're not able to access the teachers more frequently, their friends frequently, the technology frequently. So that could be the issue, and that might affect that student and content and student and the other things where you are able to see everybody all the time. As human beings, we have been conditioned and programmed like that, and suddenly we find that somebody is interfering with that programming within us, that we are in this situation, and therefore that paucity might be disturbed. If we do only synchronous things and we just replicate the classroom scenario to a virtual scenario, that synchronous method of teaching will also create a fatigue in online classes. And therefore, we have to switch over to asynchronous methodology, where we give them group work, projects, investigatory ideas. We share the video content and they see it and we discuss it. We share with them podcasts. Children would love to listen to your own voice or some other voice, which is credible, which is interesting, which is knowledgeable. And therefore, we have to make a balance between synchronous and asynchronous methodology. Socialization. So between student and student, socialization is missing, as I told you. And therefore, there are certain interventions. You can have breakup rooms. You can tell 3 or 4 children to come together and do a project. They can do analysis of the content. They can give a presentation in the classroom. So socialization missing syndrome can be countered by some innovative interventions. And for teachers also, let us not forget the element of teachers being the humans. They have their limitations, they have their problems, they have their own syndromes. Apart from the fact that they are also missing the children in schools, they have to look after their families, they have to look after their own well-being, and sometimes they get overwhelmed by it, bogged down by it, daunted by it. And therefore, it is the responsibility of the leadership to take care of that, so that their well-being is also ensured, and then only they will be able to take care of the well-being of the children. So these are the major challenges which we have to answer. And then question number 3 is how to manage engagement online discussions. So this is one thing that you said that you want to have the body language and control over them. And if that is not possible, what do we do? So give them problem solving activities. You ask them that now that we have had the class, who can synthesize it? Who can articulate it better? Can we ask a child to initiate the discussions in the classroom? Can we ask another child to sum up and recapitulate the whole thing, which we do as teachers all the time. That will, enhance the level of engagement. Group activities, the flexible submissions of assignments, not that only paper and pencil things should take place. We have to leverage the technology, as I said. So if a child can send you a nice presentation, if a child can record herself audio, and that audio is sent to you in the form of a podcast, I think all those flexibilities should be allowed to have room and autonomy of presentation, and that will enhance the quality of our engagement. So that is another thing that we can think of. Assessment is a major area, and many of you may have this question. I am giving you some suggestions that assessment of learning is one thing, and assessment for learning is another thing. My request to you is that please focus more on assessment for learning, and for that, the formative assessments you have to bring in your classrooms more. Think of open book test if you can do it. Give a group assignment. Why only one child, one assignment? Can you give a problem and 4 people apply their mind, and let that be a group's problem solving activity? Let them present, let them give videos, audios, ask them to research, ask them to put up a paper of 200, 300 words, ask them to conduct a survey of what is happening around them. And of course, the last resort, which all of us love so much, that if children are given tests, they must be monitored, they must be invigilated, they must be proctored. Well, there are means and ways for that also. But right now, our focus should not be there. Right now, the focus should be that how they enjoy learning and how they enjoy even giving feedback as to how the learning is progressing. I think this will make the online engagements much more enjoyable than anything else. So I just summarized here that the future course of action is going to be online and in person, a hybrid model. We will have to do synchronous and asynchronous. We will have to involve the parents in the whole thing. This COVID has suggested that the parental involvement is already there, whether we liked it or not. When the teacher is taking online class in the classroom, in the houses, children alone are not attending the classes. Their parents are also attending the classes with or without our knowledge. So how we can leverage their involvement, how we can ask them to help with technology, to help with counseling, to help with well-being things, to help with their expertise. So we have to ensure that the parents are treated as partners in learning, and they contribute to the building of culture, new culture in the student-teacher relationship and in parent and school relationship. And the last thing somebody has asked, that this is the best time for us to include socio-emotional learning in our curriculum. Done a lot in the cognitive, but the socio-emotional learning is very important. Very happy that I have included it already. So socio-emotional learning helps in the cognitive learning also, let me tell you. And if a child is free from anxiety, influence of the atmosphere around them, if they are able to judge themselves, make themselves aware of the social awareness, the social management, their relationships, their decision-making process, they develop empathy, they develop resilience, I think that will prepare them for a greater learning, appreciation of knowledge and this experience. So social emotional learning, I thank all those who thought that this thing should be brought in, because I personally myself consider it to be of very, very great importance. Engagement tips, I have already given to you. Some more engagement tips I'm sharing. The conducting of the quiz, polls, like we did here. Use the chat box. Chat box is a great tool on online learning, and a lot of things can be accomplished through that. Encourage questions. Set rules, but encourage questions. Let children ask, the beauty of the teacher and taught relationship is that the children feel very happy when they're allowed to ask questions. And they feel happier when their questions have been asked, but answered, sorry. But let me tell you, it is not necessary that we should be able to answer all the questions. If you do not know a particular answer, which is very curious, very deep and requires some more references, we can always come back to them with this. And another beautiful thing is that if we do not know the correct answer, or even if we know and we want to develop the idea of research into the minds of the children, we can tell them that, look, do this, 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 and find out the answer. I will also find the answer, and we will discuss it tomorrow. And you see the magic it creates in your classrooms, right? So these are the things through which we can create bonding in the classrooms. But at the core of everything in the student and teacher relationship is that we show empathy for their feelings, for the circumstances which they are in, and we show a lot of confidence in their abilities. That is the key to everything. I am little anxious about the time, which is running very fast, but this is something that I wanted to do, and I will quickly build it up. That, you know, if we can engage the children in thinking strategies, because thinking determines the learning. If we do not think in a very, very constructive manner, and if we do not know how we are thinking, and if we do not let children know the process of thinking, they will never become the self-directed learners. They will always want to listen to you passively and take the answers and try and give the answers in examination. And that, in my opinion, defeats the entire process. Therefore, even on online, there are many strategies through which we can develop the thinking strategy. So one thinking strategy is peel the fruit. 3-2-1 bridge builder, KWHL strategy, 6 thinking hats, mind map, you may be very, very familiar with. So I will briefly discuss with this, but one blueprint I will give here. And now this poll has come by Aanchal. Aanchal?
Yes.
Yeah, please vote for it. This online teaching thing has come. I like online teaching. So even if you did not like it before, can you tell me that does it offer you any interest? Could you please answer this? I like online teaching because, anyone? I think poll has started. Please. Yes, yes, I can see. I love the power of technology. My content becomes rich. Children are not intimidated by others' presence, of course. Excellent. So here, I think the trend is towards online teaching is the way forward. And even if that is the reason, I think it only suggests that we have to learn more, and we have to understand the whole process, and we have to make it much more effective. So that's fine. Absolutely fantastic. I'm ending the poll here so that I can move to this. And this is peeling the fruit, ladies and gentlemen. Just see these nice, lovely oranges. And when you peel it, that becomes, I'll quickly read it. So suppose you want to teach a particular passage in a language, any language, or you want to develop a text or any content, and you want children to be the self-directed learners in this, then what you can do is follow these 7 steps quickly. So they will read it, and they will highlight the points they think are very, very important. And then they will see what observe, what is their impression in the first place. That is the outer side of the skin. That is the orange part. And then when they go deeper and they peel it, they will have some questions. They will have some puzzles in their mind. They will wonder where it is coming from. So they have gone now under the skin. And once they go under the skin, can they really, what is this all about? And let them write about it. So if the chapter is, just give me 2 minutes, let me finish this. So this is the third step, and after that they can share their thinking, arrive at a result, and they can articulate it. So this is one process to engage the children in the classroom. You can do it. Similarly, other thinking strategies can be deployed. But my last thing before we go to the question and answer session, ladies and gentlemen, is that nothing can be replaced with the teacher. Teachers are, whether online or in person, you are the chief protagonist of the entire teaching learning process, and you have to build your capacity. So if we do not become learners, if we are not open, if we are not learning and growing and shining and brightening along with children, then we will not be able to make any significant contribution to the development of children. So teacher capacity building by our own motivation, by a policy and philosophy of the management, I think that is something that has to take the center stage, and then probably we will be able to do. So there's a video, I'll not show it. Aanchal,
Yes, sir.
Aanchal, you can come to question and answer session, please. So
Yes.
thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me very attentively. I hope you are engaged and you have got some takeaways, but within the time given, I'll be able to answer some of your questions. Yeah, Aanchal, can you read the questions, please?
Yes, sir, sure.
Yeah.
So we have got a question from Mr. Prakash. He's
Yeah.
asking, how are we going to deal with the digital divide? Students
Yeah.
who don't have any means to learn through online platforms.
So Mr. Prakash, thank you very much. I expected this question, and I did give a hint at the possible scenario. So if that place is totally devoid of any technological access, then of course I know that is a problem area. Is WhatsApp available? Is voice over SMS available? Can children be accessed through sending them learning packets? I will only share one example of a teacher in Jharkhand who has put a loudspeaker in his village, and there are 250 children in that village, and they sit opposite their houses and they listen to the classes delivered by the teacher. So my answer to this is, if we can map the status vis-a-vis technology available to those children and what is the need of those children. But if this is at a larger scale, then I can only share with you that the state governments have tied up with television, with community radio. The Swayam Prabha channel is available. PM's e-Vidya portal, Diksha portal is available. And even with a 2G or 3G connection on a simple phone, this can be accessed. But if nothing is available, and I know there are many children in that category, I think then teachers have to move forward and probably giving them the learning material, or some kind of social distancing can be done, and can a mass media be deployed to reach out to them. That is what I can tell you at this stage. But beyond this, I can only say that as early as possible, those children should be able to attend classes. Yeah, Aanchal, next question, please. Yeah.
Yes, sir. We have a question by S. Sonawane.
Yes.
The question is, how do we address the issue of first generation learners?
So they are the first generation learners. I believe here the issue is not a first generation learner. The issue is the generation of learners who have no access to technology. But if there are first generation learners and they have access to technology, I see there will be no problem. Because even if they are first generation and they have access to technology, then technologically they are not first generation. Because as it is, technology has equalized the generations. So if your question is first generation and no technology, then it is more or less the previous question. But if your question is first generation, language difficulty, understanding difficulty, then that remediation is same as it was in the in-person class. Now that we are reaching out to them through technology, probably they will require more time. They will need more tutorial. So I can only imagine a situation that there are 5 children like that in your classroom, and by the grace of God, they have the access to technology. Then you organize a separate class for 5 of them and give them more time, more understanding, listen to their questions, and give them a master class other than your routine class. So that is what my suggestion is.